All right, we are live. Welcome to the Rabid Atheist. I'm your host, Ed Raby, former pastor turned atheist, now compassionate anti-theist. And tonight, I wanted to reflect on the week that was. Had a couple of videos and questionable witnesses, a lot of good discussion there. But I'm getting back into the groove of things. If it wasn't for the holidays dividing my attention because I work retail, I would I'd be a lot better off. So let's see who we got here. And Azo, you were first. So congratulations. I don't know where Fred is. So we'll see what happens there. And who else we got? I got Deviant Outcast. All right, welcome. Um, I was just over at Captive Death Stream, and they were talking about Christmas, and they were listening to a guy talking about the cultural dynamics of Christianity in the United States, being changed. So Rimmer's here. Uh, Welcome. And but yeah, and one of the things that happened a few years ago in Christianity in the United States is somebody decided that they were going to, there's this war on Christian war on Christmas. Okay. This war, the Christians decided that, happy holidays was, well, you want to say happy holidays because you want to deny Christmas and all this other stuff. And I think it's been one of those really weird, interesting things that has happened culturally in my area of the world. So, no, not really. They're they were looking at this preacher preach about Christmas and how the whole Happy Holidays movement was some sort of attack on Christians and Christianity. And I'm listening to this preacher, and it's like the real problem with this time of year is there's about 20 different holiday religions that have their holidays. So really didn't know that. Okay, fair enough. But yeah, this is kind of a helping atheists cope with the Christians during their holiday season, where they seem to think that the world revolves around them, not realizing that. Let's see, the pagans celebrate Yuletide this time of year. You've got the Jews with Hanukkah. You've got Kwanzaa. You've got, man, there's like so many religions celebrate end of the year stuff. And, you know, I remember a few years ago when the whole Happy Holidays thing was started, people were just being told Happy Holidays. And all of a sudden that became offensive to Christians. It was like, how come you're dissing? Yeah. There's like that. Yeah. Festus for the rest of us. Today is the or the winter solstice. So it's the shortest day of the year. And so now it's going to start getting longer days and warmer, supposedly. So we'll see how that pans out. But it's for me as somebody who's an atheist going through all these religious holidays, uh, it's it becomes a kind of a problem. I work retail, and one of the things I am thankful for is I work third shift now. When I work days, it was worse because I remember just wishing somebody a happy holidays, and they just looked at me funny and made a point to say Merry Christmas as if this was the thing. But it's like for a lot of us who are, for a lot of us, yeah, Christians think it's all about them, disregards anybody's customs or holiday. But yeah, so but that's kind of, for you, for if you're an atheist going through this holiday is kind of difficult. I can speak for the difficulties that I faced myself. One of those difficulties was when with dealing with family, because when you're no longer a believer and a lot of the traditions of your family are wrapped around that Christian thing, it really becomes problematic to, just to be in the room, okay, so to speak. Like this year, it's been like my daughter does an advent calendar, where everything gets taken out and put up into this little manger scene, and um, so it has that aspect of it. It's like the whole Christmas message with Jesus and the baby Jesus is everywhere, but somehow they're persecuted, and I'm what am I doing celebrating their holiday? I don't know, but yeah, it's just it's one of those issues that I think, yeah, yeah, hit the buttons, please. I appreciate that. Like, share, subscribe, do all that stuff. It always helps me. Thank you. Yeah, yeah, I I was over at Captive Death's live stream, and they were proposing the theory that the Christians made it up. Okay, that they just made this up. Um, I think it had all to do with I can't remember if it was Walmart or one of the major companies said we're encouraging people to say happy holidays because there's so many happy holidays, different holidays at the time of the year. And then all of a sudden somebody got it. Well, that's a war on it's Merry Christmas. It's about Christmas. It's about Christ. And it's like, how dare you steal our holidays? And somebody tried to point out to those Christians at the time is like, there's a lot of different holidays going on right now. Okay. And it's not just Christmas. So it's, yeah, I think there's two things with Christians that bother me the most at the holidays when you're an atheist is how complete the lack of self-awareness they have. Like you are the dominant religion of the culture in the United States, but you want to deny that. Okay, it's like it's strange to me. And then they talk about this holiday that there's the only one that matters, and you'll get these people that'll go, well, yeah, but ours is the original holiday and everybody else is just kind of crowding the space. And it's like, I don't know. There's some holidays that are way older than Christianity. So, um, and there's some argument for a lot of that there needs to be some sort of, change in that sort of thing. So I don't know but it all stemmed from that. And then there were a whole bunch of Christian preachers that suddenly got up in the pulpit and started railing about how the holiday was about. So it's just they just started railing about it. And I remember when it happened, I'm thinking to myself, nobody's telling you can't say Merry Christmas. I remember the memes on Facebook at the time of, I'm going to say Merry Christmas no matter if they tell me they're not to. Well, nobody's telling you not to. Okay, it it was frustrating for me even back then as a Christian because uh, really Sweden's doing that too. Okay. Uh, um, yeah, yeah, pretty much, pretty much. So, but yeah, I don't know. It's 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 been one of those things. And so as an atheist, what are some of the things I have learned in coping with Christmas? Number one, I make it much more about my family and my friends than I do whatever the holiday is supposed to be about. I think I spend a lot more time, watching. I think the moment that matters for me now as a grandfather is when I give my gifts to my grandkids and watching their eyes light up. That's a good moment for me. Yeah. So there's that aspect of it. There's also, uh, saying happy holidays or just addressing people and whatever they address you. If they say Merry Christmas to me, I say it back. If they say happy holidays, I say it back. It's kind of funny. It's the narrative though that Christians were being persecuted by this is still kind of ongoing. It's still here. I still get it every once in a while. I just don't. I don't. So, but there's that. Um, so, I think the other thing is I working retail. I have to deal with that. I think more than anything else. This is supposed to be a season of love, joy, and peace. And I'm sorry, I work retail. I know that that's not the case. Um, and for me personally, this is kind of if you have any joy in Christmas and you want to get rid of it, just go work retail sometime. Uh, so it's just one of those things where I just find myself constantly dealing with people's attitude where they're trying to get everything right for Christmas. They want this perfect atmosphere. Um, but I saw a calendar the other day where they were dividing up the days of December and how you're dealing with them. And it's like, okay, we're going to take 20 days of the year prep, dealing with the hustle and bustle, all this stuff, uh, stressing yourself out 5 days, shopping, doing all this other stuff. You get a half hour of nostalgia. I have to deal. Okay, if if you're ever in the States, go to your average Walmart and go to their seasonal stuff during the holidays. There is everything there. Okay, let's see. We had a return of Larry the Cable Guy's Christmas sets. You have the return of Dolly Parton for some reason. Somehow she's become relevant again. You had the return of all the like there's literally 6 or 7 different hot sauce gift sets. There's coffee gift sets, hot chocolate gift sets. If there is a popular character or something, it's there. And then of course in the other Christmas section, you've got all these Christmas decorations. Every one of them is musical. Some of them are musical just by you walking by them. They're motion sensitive. And so they'll start playing some random Christian song or uh, it's it's um, I don't know. I don't know. There's just a whole bunch of stuff that, and I'm one of the people that sets all that stuff up. Okay, like I'm the one that sets up the shelf and puts all the stuff on the shelf and gets it ready, and it's just amazing to me. It's I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. As far as rock and roll Santa, yeah, that's been around. My favorite, there used to be a clip of Darth Vader playing one of the Christmas songs on his electric guitar, and I thought that was better. I just don't know. I've found that dealing with this holiday, for me, it's less and less of the religious aspects of it, although they are there. It's more there's supposed to be this Christian love atmosphere around the entire holiday season. I never experienced that. So that's my big beef. Yeah. So it's that aspect of it. So, but yeah, working in retail has kind of kicked the Christmas spirit out of me every year. It does. I don't know how else to put it. It's just, yeah, we had that. I don't know if we have it this year. We have so many things that now speak in electronic voices. It's amazing. I mean, it's um, like there's a jukebox that plays 4 different Christmas carols. That, of course, uh, I don't know. I don't know at that point. So yeah, it's one of those things where everything is there. Americans always overdo it. Okay, we have to have everything. It's that. Uh, So it's, I don't know. I'm here to support all of you because I understand. I do understand the nature of it. But yeah, it drives me nuts. And right now, I'm just trying to. I'm getting on live here to talk about it. I think most atheists kind of laugh the holidays off for the most part. I think that's kind of it's a festive time of year. We all have a lot of fun with it. I think last year, was it last year? Somebody literally got in the stream and said, "How dare you atheists celebrate Christmas?" And it's like, well, I don't really celebrate Christmas. I'd rather do Yuletide because it's whole 12 days instead of one. Um, Festus, all the rest of it. It's like there's a whole bunch of things going on right now. When I look at the symbolatry of Christmas, it's like every holiday has their thing. The bright lights, are all the lighting, and that's Hanukkah. Um, the tree is definitely, more Yuletide. Mistletoe hanging from the thing is Yuletide. There's just a whole bunch of stuff that's mishmashed together. And for any religion to come along and say you're stealing my holiday, which part? Okay. So there's that aspect of it. I don't know. I have gotten to the point where I'm not, so, so all right. But yeah, I think, this is where my advice comes out sometimes, where if you are dealing with family, you have to decide sometimes what's worth it. I mean, I could lecture my family on the fact that there is absolutely no good historical attestation to any part of the Christmas story. However, I would rather keep my relationships with them and not have a fight at Christmas time. So that's where I make my stand. So sometimes you have to eat it as an atheist at this time of year with some of those things. But I don't know. I think this is a time of year where it's basically a celebration of the end of the year. Let's be real. Um, you guys are using my cast thing. So hey, Alex, welcome. Hope you're doing all right. I hope everybody's doing all right. Is all I'm saying. I know I'm on here mostly for myself. I'm exhausted. I'm mentally exhausted about the holiday at this point, and it's it's yeah. I mean, it's really when you get down to it, it's the winter solstice, and now we're moving where the days are going to start getting longer and longer again. For those of us that live in Four Seasonville, it makes a lot of sense. So okay, all right. How would I go about preaching a sermon at Christmas? Oh boy. The real problem with preaching Christmas is the material never really changes that you have to preach about. Okay. Um, so I get that often in the sense that when I was preaching and I was trying to put together sermons, I guess I would say the main issue for me when I was a Pentecostal was bringing Christmas into a very Holy Spirit dynamic atmosphere, which you have to use a lot of emotion. So, I mean, I don't know, maybe I could do that some year. Maybe next year at Christmas, I will give you an example of what I would do at Christmas. See, this is one of the ideas I toy with is showing you how pastors put together messages and then showing you how most of it's emotional based so they can appeal to their audience and that sort of thing. But Christmas is a great time of year to do that. The problem is you have such limited material to work with. It's the same story. Um, you I mean, these days, I think you are trying to keep the I would try to gear it towards newcomers, Alex, but when I was preaching, the biggest problem I had with Christmas is it's the same story, and you're trying to inject a lot of it into there. So it's the emotions. I saw a play recently my granddaughter was in, and the play is all about bringing in the emotions of Christmas to it. Like, there's this aspect of what was Mary feeling, what was Joseph feeling, trying to bring the characters to life and what they were feeling, bringing out their human nature, that sort of thing. Um, it's more of that than anything else. And I think that's the thing. When you hear Christmas sermons, you need to realize that pastors are using old material that's been around forever, and trying to inject some new life into it is usually the struggle that they have. It's also, on the other hand, easy. Most people start coming to church and stay in church because of something they either heard at Christmas or Easter, because that's when they're in church. So there's that aspect. Well, I get together with my family. The rest of it is, yeah, whatever. Okay. I enjoy my grandkids and my family, but the rest of the religious aspects, nope, not doing it. So, um, so there's that aspect. Hey, Earl, fashionably late as always. Um, Yeah, I mean, I guess it's the same reason why you don't do that. Deviant Outcast makes a good point. What's wrong with celebrating Jesus? Well, I don't think he's the Messiah, and I don't think he's the Son of God, and I don't think he was born of a virgin, and there's a good chance that he didn't exist. So, so there's that. Uh, so it's there. So there it is. ABS, welcome, man. But yeah, for me, this whole aspect of, because it's an interesting question to think about what churches do at Christmas time, because as a former pastor, and I'm thinking, this means I must have preached probably 25 Christmas messages on near Christmas Day, but also December tended to be all about Christmas, if you understand what I mean. And I was kind of the guy that would preach series of messages. So I would have probably broken the Christmas story into 4 parts and preached it every Sunday. Um, in my last church, I did probably 10 candlelight services on Christmas Eve night, where we would have communion and we would have a candlelight service and a whole bunch of things like that. So there's that aspect. Hey, Martin, welcome, heathen. So, yeah, I don't celebrate Voldemort either. Welcome, skeptically pissed. What a great name. um, yeah, that's tends to be the tendency in preaching these days. I mean, it's very rare for you to see a preacher go into a defense of the historicity of the event, because they know that there isn't a lot of defense here. It's largely hearsay, but no, it's not. Everything in the Bible is hearsay, so whether or not it's a historical event is very much is debated and not really there. So, but yeah, I would say it's just not. Preachers are focused on emotion at the holidays because this is what draws people in. It keeps people in. It's not. Yeah. So it's that aspect. I don't know what I'm for me, I don't know what I'm going to do every Christmas. So no, there's no evidence for the Christmas star, none whatsoever. A lot of people have made stuff up. They have a lot of good reasons to lie about it, but okay. um, so, then Jupiter appears all the time, so it's not really a good sign. so, so, but yeah, but yeah, I don't know it. I I remember preaching every year at this time. I Today's Saturday, so if I was still a preacher, I'd be thinking about tomorrow's message on the 22nd, and it would be very, very focused on the Christmas story, and it would be very much an emotional appeal. But Jupiter, going on the Jupiter thing in the chat, but it's for me at this time, it's just not there. Okay. I really feel, I guess I used to have a high emotional state at Christmas time when I was still a theist. And now it goes the opposite direction. I think it's, uh, so, um, so there's that. So I don't know. Um, I used to be Assemblies of God, Pentecostal for most of my Christian existence. I left that after I had some disputes and I had some doctrinal differences. Um, so I left that. I became a independent Congregationalist. So for a while, for about 10 years, and so in that church, it was a combination. I had so many some brand of Christianity in front of me that a lot of different traditions came together in that service. So that was kind of one of those different. Um, it's one of the aspects, I guess, of that church I missed is everybody got along, even though they had a lot of different theological views. It was one of the so there's that. I mean, it's that. No, it's not a fact. Okay, you just made that up. Okay. I mean, I don't know what to say to you, but there's that. But yeah, so there's that. The only people that use the criterion of embarrassment are apologists. Nobody else uses that. Okay, you will not hear a historian, scholar, or anybody argue about a criterion of embarrassment as a reason why they wouldn't have talked about something if it wasn't true. The only people that use that are apologists. It's not a real thing. So there's that. Okay, it's just not there. But so um, uh, at Christmas, you have to cherry pick. See, when you deal with the same story all the time as a preacher, you have to pick a spot and stick with it and kind of ignore the rest of it. Um, it's like I think one year I talked about the angel's message to the shepherds and just dealt with that poem and brought out all the emotions of that poem. You can deal with like the baby in the manger, just set the scene and go through what Joseph and Mary and stick on that. And the one thing you'd never want to bring up is that there's no historical verification for any of it. Okay, that's kind of what I'm doing in my questionable witnesses series right now, is just pointing out there is no history. I mean, the biggest thing that they avoid, like the first 3 verses of the Christmas story in Luke in chapter 2, you absolutely avoid talking about whether that's history because there are so many historical inaccuracies in those 3 verses. It's gone. And as a preacher, I would never talk about that part. I just read the story and start dealing with the baby in the manger, because if I went to those 3 verses, I would be in trouble. Okay. It's not just cherry picking, it's selective editing. They take certain parts out of the story that they don't want to talk about. You see Christians do this all the time. Because what they do is when they look at something like the Christmas story or the resurrection, they have to edit stuff out that's, if you really think about it, is bad for their case. And with the Christmas story, it's very much like that. Like you don't want to focus on those first 3 verses of Luke chapter 2 because there's so many historical inaccuracies in it. Like, like I pointed out, just yesterday in my video, it's like there's no historical record of a Roman worldwide tax at all by Caesar Augustus. Why would you send everybody to their old hometown from their lineage? You'd want to actually do them where they were. You become, as a pastor in the church, you don't want to deal with that, okay? Because if you deal with that passage and those 3 verses, it puts so much doubt on the Christmas story because the writer of Luke gets so many things wrong. What else is he wrong about? Hey, Big Daddy. Well, that's okay. I mean, I don't anymore because I'm not really sure he is what everybody thinks he is. So there's just not that. Yeah. I mean, it's not impossible for people to walk that far. I've done some long hikes myself, but it's even back then they were trying to be convenient about it. So, but when you look at the whole story, and I'll be getting into the aftermath story in January of after Christmas, then what? Okay, well, you have the Magi kicking them out. They have to go to Egypt. They somehow lived in Egypt, and then they came back to Nazareth, and there's this whole political dynamic. And so when you look at the historicity of the story, it becomes, you can really see that the gospel writers are trying to make Jesus fit all these prophecies, and they're post hoc rationalizing their stories to make it fit the narrative. You can see it. There's, it's just one of those aspects of when you start looking at how historically, even back then, this is possible. But there's, when I have to question Luke's historical value right from the get-go. There is no, I mean, you have a Roman worldwide tax that nobody else mentions but Luke. You have the fact that they had registry taxes, but they asked you to register where you lived, not where you came from in ancestry. I don't know why the Romans would have respected Jewish ancestry and where that came from. You have Quirinius isn't governor of Syria until 6 AD. The other guy is not even that name. You have just this, there's just so many things wrong with the story at that point. If he can't get that right, what else is he making up, or what else does he have wrong? And so this isn't even like historical, or this is historical criticism. This isn't higher criticism or some critic making stuff up. You just take the Bible account, compare it to what we know about Roman history for sure, and it doesn't line up. And there you go. Goodbye Bible being accurate and being the inerrant word of God. Okay, because there's so many errors in those 3 verses. So sure. Yeah, that's possible. And the thing is, Earl, I think after that, I have no problem with like a Jesus of Nazareth who did exactly what you said right there. And then everything else about this cult just continues to grow, and they continue to make stuff up. It's why Mark is shorter. And I think if you look at Mark, the Gospel of Mark, that's closer to the reality of this preacher if he existed. Okay. And then you have Luke and Matthew come along. They have to add the birth narratives and the resurrection narratives because Mark doesn't have one. And then, John goes off the rails a couple decades later and just makes him into Superman. And so I can absolutely see the mythology growth and the legend growth when you just look at the Gospels in chronological order. So yeah, and you know what else? It all, there's literature that also says that certain Hindu gods lifted villages and moved them, and they believe that too, even though they didn't see it. So, I mean, I'm just pointing out that there's other religions out there. I mean, it's a good Christmas motive here because there's tons of holidays right now. So, it's like, it's not about anger. She's just pointing out the reality of the situation. It seems like, we atheists do that a lot. We like to point out that it's more your emotions and not ours, actually. Um, so there's that. And that story isn't historically attested to either. Okay. Uh, so there's that. No, she's not angry. She's just pointing out things. You just didn't like what she had to say. So, uh, uh, that's an assertion without evidence. You don't have any evidence that Jesus is alive. An old book says so. That's not evidence. It's hearsay. So, be thrown out of court. So, all right. I don't know. It's when I look at the past of what I used to be as a Christian, I I see myself in a lot of people today. It's just, but as a preacher, preaching Christmas was always the challenge of it. Wasn't There's plenty of things to draw the emotion from. It's just the same story over and over and again every year. So so there's that. So uh, so I don't know. Here's the thing. Uh, you don't have to keep telling us you respect us. Okay, we'll know you respect us by how you treat us. Uh, you know, yeah, that's a real bad way to live because the Bible's inaccurate about a lot of things. But um, but moving on to continuing on the topic, for those of you that are already atheists and you're going through the holidays, I the emotions of it is probably what's going to get to you most of all. Um, so there's that aspect of it. But my issue for me personally at this time is looking back. I mean, people ask me, does this still affect me? Yes. Uh, so there's this aspect to me of how can I say it? The regret, I guess, of leading so many people astray into thinking this was real. We got somebody in the comments who thinks this is real right now, and I hate to break the news to him, but it's just a book, okay, and it's a story, and it's a story with no historical verification whatsoever. It's based on hearsay evidence that would be dismissed in any court in the land, and so there's, um, I well, all right, let's deal with this one. If he doesn't hate us, anybody, then why is he going to cast a good chunk of people into hell? In fact, most people. I'm sorry, that's a big I hate you. Okay, if we're going to be honest, and the devil isn't being casting anybody in hell because that's not the way it's represented. It shows God's angels throwing people into hell. How does God do that without hating us? I mean, I'm sorry, I have very nasty feelings about certain people, but I would never burn them forever. I'm sorry, that's a big I hate you. Okay. And so when let's look at our Christmas messages of hope, joy, and peace. And then all of a sudden, yeah, there it is. Well, it doesn't require God to be a nice person. Okay. Here's the issue. your image of what you think God is up here. You have created him, but he doesn't line up with your Bible. If you actually take the Bible for what it says, the image you have of Jesus and God in your head is not the same. Okay. I know because I used to do the indoctrination. So, I think they go for the relationship side for that very reason. They talk about relationship with God. They talk about relationship with Jesus. They avoid the Bible because the Bible can be easily criticized now. The real problem for theists is that, especially if you're a Christian theist and you believe the Bible, you're a Bible believing Christian, is there is so much exists. I am one channel of many that criticizes the Bible. How many are there? There's tons of them. It's like you also, you have verses like this where Jesus basically tells people to hate people, but nobody wants to deal with that. No, it doesn't mean that at all. You know how to read? Okay. It's an atheist support group for those of us dealing with Christians. That's a more obvious one. I don't, well, Catholic theology is weird on many points, and it's not something that I would definitely deal with. So, but yeah. Then you have a relationship with a psychopathic God who kills people on a whim. You need to read your Old Testament more. So, you know what, Earl? I like your tradition. Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I'm with you. I'm down for that. So there's that. Christmas lights on one of your plants. I can see that. I can see that. Uh, so, yeah, I mean, it does. Okay. I mean, and if you look at Paul's theology too, what association does light have with darkness? Why are you hanging around with your heathen friends? You need to stay in your clique and make sure you reinforce each other's cognitive dissonance. It's like, so there's that. So there's that part of it. So there's that. Yeah. I could see that's the thing. I need to like put my lights back up and just leave them on all year long. So saves me time. What I need is like lights that change colors so I can do like green at St. Patrick's Day, pink at Valentine's Day. Just keep them up. I do have LEDs around here in certain places. I just don't run them that much anymore. Uh, just to make myself clearer, you're not saved. I'm not saved. Nobody was ever saved. That's a made up thing by Christianity. So haven't fallen anywhere, haven't gone up anywhere. That's just your perspective. um, yeah, we do a lot. That's something I want to talk about with those of you that are regulars. In April, I am considering doing an autism fundraiser to help some autistic organization. I want to, if you're a regular to this channel, I'd like to know what you think about that to do that, and then what exactly would. So there's that aspect of it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can see this. Um, that's another aspect of the holidays. As a pastor, I can give you some light on. It's a great way to look at how much God has done for you. You need to do something for the church. That's a great line. So there's that. But yes, irrationally happiness is good. Yeah, but that's one of the reasons why Christmas and holidays are great things for that. So, um, so uh, yeah, yeah. I'm looking for something that's effective. Okay, and I have to admit my ignorance. Most of my concern with autism has been myself for the last few years, trying to figure myself out. But, so there's that aspect of it. So why would I be scared that you're here? Who are you? I don't even know who you are. I'm playing Thanos at this point. Pleasant twinkled setting. Okay, fair enough. Um, that was one of my conflicts with the ministry, Alex. Is I have this all. I don't like to take advantage of people because I now know what that is. Because as somebody who trusts people implicitly, autistic people over time, they get less and less trusting of people because people take advantage of their social naivete. Okay, there's certain social things that I just don't pick up when I'm in a social group, and people take advantage of that. And because I developed a dislike of being taken advantage of, I really, as a preacher, tried not to do that. I kind of like the Bible guilt trip people, things like that. So there's that. No, I'm not going to do that. So, uh, what truth comments? You have truth comments? Well, I'm sorry, bro. What do you mean by truth? Okay. Uh, yeah, that's so far. But this guy saying that I'm afraid of him, I'm not afraid of anybody anymore. Okay. Human beings don't scare me other than what they do collectively in groups. Okay. Individual humans don't really scare me that much. So I'm 6'4" and 275. So I don't really deal with it. So, I mean, but I'm not scared of anybody. As far as truth goes, truth with a capital T, truth with a small t, because I don't think there is a capital T truth. So, so, um, I think that's probably a good, Alex. I think that's a good observation. I think so. It's something that every holiday, there's a reason why you see an uptick in church attendance after holidays. It's brief and it does. Yeah, he did. You're literally avoiding a verse of scripture where he tells people to hate their brother, sister, and mother. Literally the word hate. So, I mean, you're just showing a product of indoctrination there. That you literally can look at a verse where it says Jesus tells you to hate your mother, father, sister, and literally you take that out of your mind, even though it's in your Bible. That's indoctrination. Thanks for examining it. Hey, Fred, good to see you here. But glad for you. It's like, so it's that, it's that issue of, getting people to serve after Christmas is very, very easy. Getting people to serve after Easter is very easy. Okay, because of the atmosphere. So, mhm. It's not, excuse me, where did I say that? I said, I'm reacting to somebody saying something about truth. Okay, what are you talking about truth? Okay, you got to define what you're talking about. Okay, So, but if you're looking for the truth, because the gospel is the truth. I mean, I can do my preacher voice. Then no, this channel, I'm an atheist channel, so it isn't about that at all. But there are truths that we have discovered, and I'll gladly talk about those. But you're insinuating that then it's about lies, and no, that's not the issue. Okay, you're that's a complete misrepresentation of what I'm talking about. Thanks for being a good example of misrepresentation. Um, yeah. So there's that. So there's that aspect of it. When I look at Christmas now as an atheist, I look at something that I now see as complete historical garbage. Okay. And so that's kind of one of my problems with it, but something that has taken over the culture. Um, so it's not about that at all to me anymore. And I don't know that that's my problem in dealing with it, is other than I during my time as a minister, I always had to put on this false front at Christmas time of being happy and joyful and all that stuff. And I never could pull that off all the time. So it was just, yeah, I wish I could say the same. I get one night off and then I have to go in tonight to make up for it. So it's not really a big, so there's that. Um, so there's that. So there's that. Uh, that's okay for them. I have made the decision my family is more important than being right. Okay. But loving imaginary characters isn't necessarily harmful unless you take it too seriously. So, so there's that. But I don't really have too much issue with my family at Christmas time. It's very low key. I only have one Christmas event that I attend with my family, and that's my daughter's breakfast, and that's about it. And it's about getting together for breakfast and exchanging gifts and hugging each other's necks and being there for everybody. And it's a good way to end the year for us as a family. So this is a question that I ask often, Alex, because of the nature of the beast. Good pastors do the same thing that good apologists do, and I'm putting good in quotes. You have to manufacture the authority around yourself as a minister, okay? That you're the pastor, so you have this authority, even though you really don't know much about life or anything. And then you have to speak with a great deal of confidence. And I could do both of those things. And you have to act in leadership with a great deal of confidence. Okay, so it's Rationality Rules has been doing this about apologists, and I'm like, that's the nature of the church in a nutshell. Manufacture an authority that really doesn't exist, and then speak with confidence about it, and you will always be considered a competent leader in the church. And so I think an autistic person could be successful at that, because it looks like they don't. I always was looked to as somebody who didn't get rattled easily in things, but the truth was I just so that's that. The falsehoods written about Jesus are legion. You can say that all you want, but sorry, I know too much to believe that anymore. So, yes, there are different levels of autistic. It would depend, on how autistic the pastor would be. In my case, I don't think I'm very. I have autistic traits, and there's definitely something. Oh, that's a good question. Joel has like several barriers of people protecting him when you look at the way his ministry is structured. So he very rarely has to deal with people. Okay. Which would explain why when disaster strikes the community, he doesn't seem to have a lot of human empathy. Like, oh, we're not going to open up the church for refugees or stuff like that. We're not going to buy a bunch of stuff for people. It does make me wonder. Um, it yeah, yeah, I think it's more of a spectrum. I think that's probably a better way to put it. Where you fall in the spectrum, but I'm not sure if it's a level, but getting back to your question about Joel Olstein, um, so there's what does autism have to do with intelligence? There's a ton of people that are very intelligent that are autistic. Okay, and there's plenty of people. Intelligence isn't the issue in autism. It's how you perceive social situations, and so yeah. Well, I agree. I understand a lot of Christians think he's a false teacher. Others think he's true, and other thing people think that what you believe about Christianity um, is false too. Yeah, I would argue that every preacher is about money in a sense, including myself at some point. But once you realize you're selling a snake oil, it's hard to go back. Yeah, it doesn't make you stupid. Okay. Um, you know, Philbert, I'm jealous. Okay. I would really love a lot of paganism to my holidays these days. So, Uh, I would say that in a sense he's a motivation teacher. And I think that the question of whether he might be autistic is an interesting one, is because he doesn't seem to really, on a personal level, he doesn't seem to really get along with people that well. But that could just be his personality and not necessarily autism. So, yeah, okay. It's lucky, Miss Iman, you come highly recommended by people. So there's that. Well, in a sense, yeah. I would also say that the organization itself, like the Catholic Church, you don't really see their preachers asking for money per se, but there's this constant understanding of it. And there's some churches that literally send you a bill every year. So there's that. So there's that. So, so there's that. Um, but yeah, there's that aspect. So there's aspect of money in this, and Christmas. I don't know. Inspiring. Well, okay. I want to be very clear about inspiring philosophy. Christmas is very much a mixture of Christianity, paganism, and about 20 other holidays. I can literally, do I think it's pagan? No. I do think Yuletide is pagan, and Yuletide takes place at the same time as Christmas. Okay. That's what the point of the street. There's a whole bunch of holidays going on at the same time here, and it's not just about Christianity. Now, as far as inspiring philosophy being smart, yeah, he's intelligent. He's also wrong about a lot of things. He also is doing this apologetics thing where he's creating this authority around himself that he doesn't possess. For instance, he just recently spoke to somebody about how the invasion of Canaan scholarship is switching away from it being mythological and just being a legend to being real history. Number one, he doesn't have any degrees in biblical scholarship to say that. His master's degree is in philosophy. Number two, they're manufacturing an air of authority around him that he doesn't possess. Okay. And he has literally said things that were absolutely untrue. And everybody takes it as the gospel because of this manufactured authority, because he speaks with such confidence. But he is not actually that smart in certain aspects. He doesn't have the authority that he seems to say he has. And he's also just speaks with a lot of confidence. But I have reacted to one of his videos before and expressed my disappointment in how inaccurate he is when he talks about the Bible, okay, and biblical scholarship. He's only listening to biblical scholars that have degrees and jobs that require them to hire a statement of faith. But to be honest, I really don't think that he's actually that good. And he wasn't very convincing to me. I've watched him several times and I'm like, dude, no. So yeah, I think that's that one. So, but no, yeah, he's definitely full of it. Okay, he's definitely full of it sometimes. He speaks with a lot of confidence, and so a lot of people take him. And I just, you know, if you go over to Rationality Rules, he did a couple videos recently, and one of them focused on inspiring philosophy as being the absolute trope of the Christian apologist who manufactures authority around himself, and then also, speaks with a lot of confidence, so everybody thinks he's good. The problem with a lot of believers is they equate confidence with expertise, and that's not true. It's just not the way it works. So, uh, um, you know why that is? Because in the Western world, religion is dying. One of the things I was facing as a minister even a decade ago was the fact that the church is aging. There's new people coming into the church in the Western world, at least, is very, very rare. Okay, it's not as much as what it was before. Okay, he what you're looking at here is something that's dying slowly, and so they're desperate for money. Okay, and then you have, like my last church, you have this old iconic Gothic structured building, made out of wood that needs constant maintenance. Okay, and and, and the other thing, I left the Assemblies of God. One of my biggest issues with the Assemblies of God was the whole pushing tithing. And one of the things they would tell people is tithe on their Social Security checks. I'm like, they already paid their tithe on their stuff. And, and then you got old people with the faith preachers giving their whole Social Security check. I mean, the stuff's been around for quite a while where they just dump their money into stuff. And Christmas time, oh, we're giving to this charity and that charity. And the hope is that you also give some are, see, even Missing Mod knows IP sucks. So, so it's good. So it's, yeah, he pretends that way. Okay, a lot. But the thing with philosophy too, take a look at the current percentages of philosophers who are believers, and it's very low. It's like less than 10%. Good chunk of them are atheists. So that's one of the, that's one of these things. So, yeah, this is the problem. Okay. Everybody thinks they got the right version. Asking people constantly for money. I mean, they pass the plate every week. So, let's see. What do you mean? There's tons of secular charities. The Red Cross is technically a secular charity. God, Doctors Without Borders. I mean, maybe you should look around a little bit more. It's not about atheism. It's about just being human. Okay. As an atheist, I'm not playing my little tribal game like you are right now. Okay. I'm not saying, if a country needs a bunch of doctors to go there and treat people because of a disease, I don't give two damns about where the money comes from to support that. And I will gladly give that, okay, to that if it's needed. I'm not that, I'm not that tribal about it. I don't care. Okay. Back in the day, I know his name invokes a lot of wrath these days, but Dawkins and Hitchens and the rest of them put together a lot of charities that went to Haiti, to other places. If you don't see any atheist charities, you're just not looking. Okay. There's a lot of secular charities out there. So there's plenty of places to give your money that don't have anything to do with religious nonsense. So I mean, there's plenty of secular charities. Okay, there's like secular charities is like 60% of the charities exist. I would say that's probably correct. There's a lot of charities out there that simply don't have religious affiliation. Okay, they're not atheist, but they're not believer either. Okay, I don't get the criticism. Yeah, goes towards the church missions. I let everybody in BS because it makes a fun discussion chat room. Go look at the chat. It's hilarious. Okay. You will laugh. Okay. So, I mean, I go, you know, so the thing about Martin is okay, I want everybody, all you Christians in the room, to understand something. One, this is an atheist live stream, and I'm here to support atheists getting through the holidays. Okay, so you're here as kind of uninvited guests in the first place. Okay. And the other thing about Martin and I have an understanding that I don't think anybody here wants to be preached at. I don't think anybody here wants to be proselytized. I don't think it, and both me and him get tired of one thing: you theists making the same claims over and over and over again without evidence. And mostly it's because you don't know the difference between a claim and evidence. You think a claim is evidence because the Bible makes a lot of claims and you think that's truth. So you're indoctrinated in thinking that a claim is evidence. And me and Martin both get tired at a certain point with a commenter that's a theist, where it's like, nope, not dealing with this anymore because you're just saying the same thing over and over again. And I'm kind of done. So, that's kind of, yeah. Happy holidays to everybody. No, you wouldn't be banned. You come highly recommended, and anybody that'll use an atom symbol as their avatar, I'm with. So, but yeah, this is another thing. A lot of people here that come to my channel are ex-Christians. They're ex-Christians, ex some sort of believer, and they're looking for a place to voice their thoughts. And I'm happy to hear them because I used to be there. I mean, when you spend 2 years in the pulpit as an atheist, you kind of understand a lot of emotional bullshit at that point. And so there's that. So, but yeah. Now, Martin says he's sorry, but not sorry. That's true. It's like I would love to engage theists, but quit saying the same shit over and over again. Okay, quit saying your claims. Give me evidence for your claims. So there's that. Oh man, the chat has gotten out of control, even for me. Thankfully, my mods are here to save me. So. Oh, I feel sorry for you there, Philbert. I do. The funny thing, I've subbed to a lot of different weird things, though, if you look at my channel subs. But I have atheist friends in low places, high places, weird places, strange places. It's this level of the atheist community is very interesting to me because there's a lot of people doing a lot of good work. They're just not very popular right now. And so there's that. So, but it's that one of those things that, when I deal with the holidays and subbing to things, it's like there's a lot of people out there that deserve it. So, hey, yeah, peace, man. Appreciate you. So, Yes, this is why I wanted to do this stream. Thanks for Deviant Outcast to getting to the point. I do feel odd at the holidays, and even if my family isn't overt about not being there, there's certain things we just don't talk about anymore. And sometimes some believing families have taken the extreme action of pushing their atheist person. Well, if you're an atheist, you're not allowed to be here. And I have had that on my channel. Okay. I it's a hard emotional issue for a lot of people who come here. I've had many conversations over the 5 years that I've done this channel. Holy crap. Where it starts out with, my family has pushed me away. What do I do? Okay. And at the holidays, this can be even worse because there's this celebration aspect that you have with the holidays. And now it's gone. Okay. And you find yourself as atheist. Like my channel, like every time I've dropped a questionable witnesses, there's always some theist that comes in the comments and has to object to what I have to say. That's fine. But they also have to say something personal about me. Okay. That's my problem. Okay. And it gets old. Okay. Especially the, yeah, that's true. So, but that gets old. So, I think the thing about the Bible is it's built by believers who want to believe, and so the standard of evidence for it is very low, and that's what makes it easy to criticize. Okay. When you consider that the only real standard of biblical evidence is 2 or 3 witnesses had to see it, that's very low bar and for evidence. So actually the 5th anniversary of this channel, I do believe, is either the 6th of January. I started this channel in 2020, so it'll be 5 years come January. So right before COVID, about 2 months before COVID, I started this channel. So we're coming up on the 5-year celebration. I'll probably do something early this year for that. So, but yeah, it's been been a wild run, up and down like a yo-yo. Sometimes I've been popular, and like right now, I get some new subs, and the views are a little bit lower, and just kind of muddling through the holidays. It's probably football season. Everybody's watching football instead of YouTube. So, so there's that. But yeah. Yep. Purple rhymes with orange. Marathon coming up. Got to give a shout out to B.S. Lewis. Go join his stuff. He had a great video a couple days ago. Good one. I like that one. So a whole bunch of people here. Let's see. We got I Killed Earl has a blog. You can definitely go see her. There's tons of people here that do good work. Go support them during the holidays. But I got to run, guys. I have to be to work tonight. I normally don't work Saturday, but I've got to go. So I got to go prepare for work. But this has been a fun live stream. Even you theists have made it entertaining for me because you keep doing the same things over and over and expecting different results. It's hilarious to me. But I do have to run. Got to get ready for work. But I wanted to get on here. If you're feeling down for the holidays as an atheist, my advice to give to you is have fun despite it. Enjoy it. Be weird. Keep on keeping on. It's almost over. In a few days, we'll be through all this, and we can move on to getting back to regular life, I hope. But thanks for everybody for stopping by. Do all the things, please. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. If you haven't liked the video yet, please do that. It really helps me out. Share things, do things. do everything you need to do. Yes, I killed Earl. There's her address. Thanks, everybody. Earl has a birthday stream. I think I will hopefully be there. So I'll be doing that. So just something to look forward to. I'm not sure what's going to happen for the rest of it, but that's that. But thanks, everybody. Like, share, subscribe, do the things you do. And as always, live your best life. You only get one go around and then it's over. So you want to take all your time, money, and opportunities and give them to yourself, people you love and care for, and to make this a better world. You'll be happier if you do. And don't waste them on the trappings of religion and faith, because that's a dead end. I speak from experience. And as always, everybody, thanks for stopping by, and I'll catch you next time.